Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. And today we are going to continue with the third chapter of History of Class 9. The name of the chapter was Nazism and the Rise of Hitler. And today we are going to see the first unit, that is birth of the Weimar Republic. So Weimar is the name of a place, and the republic here means the head of the country will be elected by the people, and democratically the people will be elected. So 1914 to 1917, these events will be covered here, and how this country, the German Empire, became a republic after the abdication of the king. So here we come to know Germany was a powerful empire in the early years of the 20th century, and they fought the First World War, that is 1914 to 1918, alongside their partner, that is Austrian Empire. They were together and against the allies. Now the allies were three countries mentioned here, that is England and France and Russia. So all joined the war enthusiastically, thinking that they will win, hoping to gain from a quick victory. But little did they realize, they did not realize that the war would stretch on and it will continue for a long time. And eventually at the last moment it was found that it was draining Europe of all its resources. The people were dying, the resources were being finished, and it was a great destructive war. Germany made initial gains. First of all, Germany was very lucky to have that they were winning, and they occupied France and Belgium. However, the Allies strengthened by the US entry. But in 1917, when United States of America joined, at that time they won and defeating Germany and the Central Powers in November 1918. So Germany was defeated for that, and after that, the First World War, they were having a very bad, devastating time. The defeat of the Imperial Germany, that was the emperor was ruling at the time, and the abdication of the emperor. As a result, the emperor had to surrender, and the place was abdicated by the emperor. It gave an opportunity for the parliamentary parties. So many parliamentary political parties were there. They began to recast German polity. They began to say that now the politics will be changed into a democracy. A national assembly met at Weimar, and it's the name of a place, and established a democratic constitution was made with a federal structure where there will be government at the two levels. Deputies were now elected to the German parliament, or Reichstag. So on the basis of the equal and universal vote cast by all adults, including women also. So here they gave the power to the women. The republic, however, was not received well by its own people. Why? Because of the terms it was forced to accept after Germany's defeat at the end of the First World War. After the end of the First World War, Germany was given punishment like for their loss, and they had to accept many conditions which the Allies had given on them. And that is why this republic or this government was not well received or not popular among the people. There was a peace treaty that was signed at the Versailles. So we already came to know about Versailles. That is an important place. We have heard it many times. So there was a peace treaty, one agreement with the Allies. The Central Powers had the Axis powers made with the Allies. It was a harsh and humiliating peace treaty. Why? Because it was a very much what you can say strict on the country of Germany, and Germany had to compensate and lose many things. Like Germany lost its overseas colonies, whatever colonies they were capturing in the far off countries, they had to lose all of them, and a tenth of its population went away from their control, and 13% of its territories also went away to the other countries, that is the Allies. 75% of its iron and reserves were also taken away, and 26% of its coal also went away, and all these went away to these countries of France and Poland and Denmark and Lithuania. These allied powers demilitarized Germany. They said that Germany cannot keep any military now, and they had to weaken the power, and that is why Germany was not allowed to keep any kind of army, and they could be now only under the Allies power. Then the war guild clause, this was called the war guild clause because they had gone to a war and they had caused destruction, and this war guild clause held Germany responsible for the war. They only started the war and damaged and all the damages that they had done, and the allied countries suffered a lot because of this. That is why Germany was forced to pay compensation amounting to 6 billion pound, that is the currency, and the allied armies also occupied the rich resource-rich area Rhineland for much of the 1920s and took away the resources. Many Germans held the new Weimar Republic responsible for all these problems. So the next unit is 1.1, the effects of the war. Now, what happened in the war and what kind of bad impact it had on Germany, let's see about that. The war had a devastating impact, or a very bad impact, on the entire continent, that is Europe, both psychologically according to the minds of the people and financially also. From a continent of creditors, Europe turned into one of debtors. That means earlier they used to give money to other countries. Now they themselves began to take money from others. Why? Because they had been in debt. DEBT is not pronounced. So that means when you have borrowed money from someone. So unfortunately, the infant means here the newly born Weimar Republic was being made to pay for the sins of the old empire. So in this line we come to know that the war had been started by the earlier government, but by the king. But however, this newborn, the infant means a small baby, the infant Weimar Republic was being forced to pay for whatever sins, for whatever wrongdoings that the earlier empire had done. Now the republic carried the burden of the war guilt, and there was national humiliation. Why? Because we come to know that the Weimar Republic was actually able to control the situation, but as they had to pay compensation, they had no other option. That is why they had to carry the burden of the war guilt, that they are only responsible for that, and the national humiliation, and the people began to humiliate them, make different kinds of criticism, and was financially crippled also. They didn't have money also. They were handicapped by being forced to pay a lot of compensation. A lot of money was going to the other countries. Why? Because they had started the war earlier. Those who supported the Weimar Republic here, socialists and Catholics and Democrats, these political parties group people became easy targets of attack in the conservative nationalist circles, and they were mockingly, or making fun, they were made mockingly called the November criminals also. And this mindset had a major impact on the political developments of the early 1930s, as we will soon see here. So these three groups, the socialists and the Catholics and the Democrats, were like, they were targeted by the conservative nationalist people. Those who were conservatives, they were like trying to follow the earlier mindset, how the imperial Germany, or during the time of the emperor, how they used to rule. During that time, they used to follow that kind of administration or government they thought would be appropriate for Germany. And they did not like these new people, those who were trying to make a change in the country. So the First World War left a deep imprint, or a deep effect, on the European society and the polity. Polity means here the political system. Soldiers came to be placed above the civilians. Civilians means the common people, and soldiers are those who are fighting for the country in the war. The soldiers came to be placed given more important position than the civilians. And politicians and publicists, those who are doing publicity, they laid great stress on the need of the man, for the man to be more aggressive, and they have to be strong and masculine, having strength, and they must be more ready to fight. But the media also, the newspapers and the different kinds of television was not there at the time, so radio and all, they glorified the trench life. Now the meaning of the trench is that the soldiers, like you can see here, this is a trench. They dig a kind of pit here, and the soldiers go inside and stay there and fight against the war, against the soldiers in the war. So this trench life was glorified. So it is very brave, and it is very nice. It is very good to stay in the trench, and it is a glory life and a brave life, and you will be rewarded a lot. But the truth, however, was that the soldiers lived miserable lives in these trenches. Why? Because they were trapped with the rats feeding on the corpses. The corpses means the dead bodies here, and when they die, even they are not being able to send back to their home also. The dead bodies are eaten by the rats that are found in the trenches. It was very dirty, and they faced poisonous gas and enemy shelling. Shelling means here the bombs or the ammunition, the bullets that were being fired by the enemy side. And they witnessed their ranks reduce rapidly, and their ranks and their number of people also died, and their ranks, their position also reduced. Demotion happened very rapidly. Aggressive war propaganda and national honor, that fight for your country and aggressively they must ready for war, these all occupied central stage in the public sphere, in the public, while popular support grew for the conservative dictatorship that had recently come into being. And many people supported conservative dictatorship like the king's rule. Democracy was indeed a very young and fragile idea, very easily broken idea, which could not survive the instabilities of interwar Europe. As war had already started in Europe, that is why it is called interwar. The countries of the war, countries of Europe were fighting among themselves, and that is why democracy was indeed a very young, very new thing, very new concept for them, and fragile, that could not be stable, and it could be easily broken away by the people, and it could not survive the instabilities. It was unstable idea in Germany. Now we are going to continue with 1.2, that is political radicalism and economic crisis, what happened during that time. So, the birth of the Weimar Republic coincided, it happened at the same time that with the revolutionary uprising of the Spartacist League. So, there was a political party, and this political party's name was the Spartacist League, on the pattern of the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia. If you remember what we read in the last lesson, that is 1917, if you remember the Bolshevik Revolution that happened in Russia, you try to recall the incident that happened in Russia at the time. So when this news spread in Germany, by the time Germany was also involved, if you remember that they were also involved in the war in 1917 against Russia. So some of them got influenced by this Bolshevik revolution that happened under Vladimir Lenin in Russia, and Soviets or groups, or you can say parties of the workers and sailors were established. Sailors, the people, those who are sailing in the ship, and they all started this. And you can see this is one rally, one example how the rally was organized by the radical group known as the Spartacist League. You can see the people, you can see how they came out on the streets or taken over by the people. Political demonstrations, these are the political demonstrations, these are very common. So many such kind of Soviets grew up in many cities of the country of Germany, and the political atmosphere, the kind of situation in Berlin was charged with the demands. They were demanding for the Soviet style governance. Whatever Soviet style governance happened in Russia, the people in Germany also wanted that kind of government, that is ruled by the power. Government should be controlled by the workers and the common people. Those opposed to this, like the socialists and Democrats and the Catholics, they all did not want to have the Soviet style governance. That is why what they did, these socialists, Democrats and Catholics, they met in Weimar to give shape to the democratic republic. They wanted, we don't want Soviet style, we want democratic country, we want democracy, and the head of the country should be elected by the process of democracy. That is why the Weimar Republic crushed the uprising with the help of a war veterans organization called Free Corps. So the Weimar Republic had to keep democracy alive. That is why they took the help of a war veterans group. The soldiers, those who had already taken part in the war earlier and they had experience. So their party was called Free Corps. So they took help from the Weimar Republic, got help from them, and they crushed the Spartacist League. Now the angry Spartacist League, these people, the members of the Spartacists, later founded the Communist Party of Germany. They renamed the Spartacist League and called themselves the Communist Party of Germany. So communists and socialists therefore henceforth became irreconcilable enemies. That means they were such kind of enemies who would never become friends, and they would never have any kind of agreement between them and could not make any common cause against Hitler. And since they were against each other, socialist and communist, that is why Hitler got the chance to be more powerful. Both the revolutionaries and militant nationalists craved or desired for radical solutions. They wanted solutions that were quick, radically they are fast. So that is why they were like against each other. And this is what we come to know, how Hitler was actually able to go forward, because there was no competitor against him. Political radicalization was only heightened by the economic crisis of 1923. So when this radicalization happened, the quick change happened. At that time, there was the economic crisis also of 1923. The value of currency had gone down, and there was a lot of problems in the economic front, the unemployment and everything like that. So Germany had fought the war largely on loans. So Germany, when they went for the war, they took loans from other countries and all, and now had to even pay the war reparations. War reparations means you have to give a compensation, make up for a wrong thing that you have done. So in gold, the gold they had to give, whatever gold they had. So this depleted. Depleted means reduce or become less, empty out. The gold reserves had become completely empty. At a time, this time the resources were scarce. The gold resources were getting scarce and less day by day. In 1923, one such year, Germany refused to pay the compensation, reparation, and the French occupied its leading industrial area, Ruhr. So Ruhr area was taken away by France. Why? Because the country of Germany did not pay them the money. So the French people came, the French soldiers and the French government claimed their compensation by claiming the coal from the industrial area of Ruhr. Now, Germany retaliated with passive resistance. They fought, but what they did, they could not do anything. That is why they printed paper currency recklessly. So much money they started printing so that people would get money. But with too much printed money in circulation, the value of the German mark, that is the currency of Germany, like we have our Indian rupee, that value fell. In April, the one US dollar was equal to 24,000 marks. In July, it became 3,53,000 marks, equal to one US dollar. In August, 46,21,000, it became like that. And at the end of that, 9 crore 86 lakh like dollar means marks were equal to $1 in December, and it was a huge like difference in the money. And by December, almost the figure had run into trillions. It is like crossing millions and billions, it went to trillions. So you can understand that for getting one bread also you need to take a cartload of money in the last picture that you have seen. So as the value of the mark collapsed, the prices of the goods soared. So prices became very, very high, and the image of the Germans carrying cartloads of currency notes to buy a loaf of bread was widely publicized. It was shown everywhere, evoking worldwide sympathy, and the people were like sympathizing that the people have money but they cannot buy also the thing because the price had become so high, and the currency you have to give a lot of money. This crisis came to be known as hyperinflation, not inflation, also hyperinflation. Why? Because it is a situation when the prices rise phenomenally high, very, very high it becomes, and at the time people have money in their hands but they are unable to buy. Why? Because the price becomes out of their reach. Eventually, we come to know the Americans intervened and they interrupted and they bailed Germany out of this crisis by introducing the Dawes Plan. So Dawes Plan was one introduction by the Americans, USA, and which reworked the terms of reparation to ease the financial burden on Germans. They said that we will take the reparation or the compensation from you, but in a different term, and that is why they tried to save them from the financial burden on Germans. So this is how they came to help them. So this is what we learned now. You can read the lesson one more time, video one more time, you can see and try to understand. Thank you. See you next time. Bye.